guys, we're back. Is everyone back? All right, let's see. Make sure your cameras are on. All right. Chat tells me Heather's going to be back momentarily. It's okay. I mean, oh, she's there. Okay. I don't know. I mean, one is at the beach, the other one's in the kitchen. What's going on there? All right. So, there's a lot of things here, guys. Let me see. People are still going back. So there's a lot of things here, guys, that are going to be repeated from the first chapter. There's other things I'm going to go really fast because tomorrow we're going to go in detail, and tomorrow is a long chapter, so be ready for that. It's a very long chapter. I'm going to break it down into 2 parts, but it's a very, very long chapter. All right? So, and it's a very important chapter. That's why, for me, it's long because I take my time explaining it. So, just be ready. Again, today this chapter is gonna fly by really fast. All right. Let's see what we got. David, I need you on. Anthony, need you on. Joseph, need you on. Vanessa. Who else? All right, Gil is here. Cool. All right, guys, so here we go. All right, Pearl, I understand. So here we go. Commission rules and regulations. This you guys already know right here. This you already know that a salesperson may not accept any form of compensation except from his or her supervising broker. Everybody knows this by now, right? Great. You cannot maintain an escrow account or hold funds that belong to others. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And you cannot work for more than one New Jersey broker at a time. So here's my question. How many brokers can you work for? Let me know in the chat. How many brokers can you work for? I need to get out of the way. Let me sit here. All right. And the answer is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. You're wrong, 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 wrong. You're all wrong. All right. Luz, great answer always. Best answer always. Carlos says 2. Connie says 1 at a time. Yamili says 3. All right, guys. Ready? Ready for the answer? If you guys paid attention to my question, I'm sorry, we just got back from recess, right? If you guys paid attention to my question was, how many brokers can you work for? Look at the answer that Mina just gave you. Mina says, as many as you want, as long as they're in different areas. No, different states. Not different areas, different states. It was a good answer, just changed area to state. You see, I told you how our brain works. I just read to you guys that you can only work for one New Jersey broker at a time. That's if we're addressing Jersey. But when I asked you the question, I asked you how many brokers could you work for. So I generalized again. You guys understand? These are a few things you need to pay attention to before answering. Is what are they really asking? Don't jump at the answers. Figure out what they're really asking. And Mina just wrote, need to hurry before you answer? Uh-huh. Oh, I like that one. Chad goes like, how many doors are on the 4-door sedan? Well, there's actually 5. There's 4 doors and then there's the luggage. It's a door. But if you want to, we can consider the hood too. So there's 6 doors. Again, just pay attention to the questions. Very, very important. Next, we're going to talk about place of business. There's a few things I'm going to point out here, and then we're going to skip right through to branch office because it's very similar. But if it's the main office, look right here. It says every broker who is a resident of New Jersey must maintain a place of business in the state. So let's break this down real quick. It says every broker. I told you already, that every time you see broker by itself, what are we talking about? We're talking about the broker of record, right? See, if it's a broker salesperson, do you think they need to have an office? No, they need to be appointed to an office with a broker of record. But what it says here is that every broker that is a resident of New Jersey must have an office. So obviously we're talking about the broker of record, okay? Now, they do allow that office to be in your own home. So the only thing that they require in exchange for that saving, right, for having your own home, the only thing that they require is they have a separate area with its own entrance visible from the street. Separate area with its own entrance visible from the street. Okay, so let's say you have a two-family, you can use the first floor to be the office and then the second floor to be where you reside. Just got to make sure that it's separate from your living space, okay? Heather, a lot of cables there. What's going on? Is that a gaming computer or a data mining computer or Bitcoin computer? What is it? I just see cables and colors. Sarah says, even though it's a commercial business. Listen, Sarah, you could have your own office in your own home and do whatever you want. It could be commercial, it could be residential, it could be industrial. Understand that the business is done outside of the office, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, okay? Heather says gaming used for instructional and graphic design. All right. I might need some of your help then. All right. Next, it says the broker's name and the words licensed real estate broker. This is very important right here. This is guaranteed exam question. Guaranteed or your money back. All right. The good thing is that you won't remember that I give you a guarantee or your money back. And second thing, you might not even remember this question when you get there. So either way, I'm safe. Now, here's the thing. It says the broker's name must be conspicuously displayed on the exterior as well as the words licensed real estate broker. So you guys remember who's responsible for the whole organization, for the whole office? You guys remember that? It's the broker of record, right? So let's say Linda Valera, right? Let's say you're bringing a buyer. So you're bringing Flavio to the office. He's your buyer. Before you get into the office, before you guys arrive to the actual office space, outside, you must be very clear of who your broker of record is. So if Flavio needs to sue because you made a mistake, he knows that he needs to sue you and your broker. Does that make sense? So the broker's name must be displayed on the exterior. Everybody must know who's the one responsible for your actions. That's pretty much what we're saying. Okay? Next thing we got on the next page is that the main office and the persons working in it, this is the same thing for the branch office, must be under the full-time direct supervision of either the broker or a qualified broker salesperson. That means that somebody must be physically present and must not be employed otherwise. Okay? So whoever is the managing broker cannot have a separate job. Do you guys understand? Right here, not otherwise employed. Whoever is the managing broker must be the person responsible, therefore available during normal business hours. For the branch office is exactly the same thing. Must be under the direct supervision of the broker or a broker salesperson. And it must have a duplicate license. Okay? You guys good? Again, some things I'm just going to go real brief on it because tomorrow we go in detail. So a few things I'm going to slow down, like this one right now. Trust account or escrow account. Can anybody tell me what trust account or escrow account means? Let me know in the chat. What is trust or escrow account? Trust or escrow account. I froze? It's not that cold here. Did I freeze for anybody? Perla says I froze. Am I frozen? I only see your eyes moving, Perla, so maybe you froze. Eyes moving. Okay. So where the money is held in a trust account, third-party account. Okay, the broker creates an account for the fund that the customer gives as a deposit. Someone else's money. Clients' money cannot be commingled with operating account. Yanessa, you're a little bit advanced here. Easy, I'll get there. Perla says I'm back. I didn't go anywhere. I know, it was your connection. All right, very, very important. Every time you see trust or escrow account, I'm going to talk about this in chapter 21. There's another type of escrow. But if it says account, it's where we put other people's money. Okay? And other people's money, I always say, it's my favorite drug. OPM. Okay? Other people's money. Isn't that what we do when we go to the bank? We borrow other people's money to buy our own house? Okay. You get into real estate, somebody brings the money, somebody brings the house, you're just matchmaking and you make money in the process? Great. So other people's money is very, very important here. Hey, Dennis, I'm going to charge 2 times for this. You got more people watching? What is this? All right. Let's see who else I got. Cool. All right, so that's it for the escrow account. You know it's for other people's money. Now, a broker must establish a special separate trust account for other people's money, right? And the name of that financial institution and the account must be reported to the commission both at license application and time of renewal. There's no need to keep a separate account for each transaction, right? What we need to have is proper bookkeeping so we show what belongs to which transaction, right? Very important. The account must be clearly labeled so it cannot be claimed by creditors in the event of bankruptcy or by heirs of the broker's death. Why? Because it's other people's money. It's not the business money, it's not the broker's money, it's other people's money. So if there's a bankruptcy of the business or if the broker dies, nobody can touch that money. That's what we're saying. That's why it must be clearly labeled as escrow account. Now, brokers are required to deposit the funds coming into their keeping promptly, which the Real Estate Commission defines as within 5 business days of acceptance. Okay? So guys, let me see. We got 41 people on the line, right? So let's see if everybody participates. Ready? I gave you the money on a Thursday. You brought it to your broker on Monday. When must you deposit the money by? I gave you the money on Thursday. You gave it to your broker on Monday. When must you deposit the money by? You are all wrong, by the way. All wrong. I gave you the money as a buyer. I gave you the money on a Thursday. You gave it to your broker on Monday. When must you deposit it by? Now the answers are coming correctly. You don't. The broker does it. You guys remember I told you that the real estate exam is going to trick you? See, you don't deposit, the broker does. Okay? So the answer will be never. Okay? Very, very important. So, here's the thing. It's not, what must you do with the money then? Let's say I gave you the money. When should you give it to your broker now? It says right here, that's the other thing, the other answer. It says right here that salesperson should give immediately. So you cannot hold on to the money. You give it immediately to your broker. Because if the question now said, hey, you collected it on a Thursday, you gave it to the broker on Monday, when must the broker deposit? Now some of you would be correct, because it will be the 5 business days from the day you collected. The 5 business days start from the day of acceptance. And who accepted the money on behalf of the brokerage? You did. All right? Guys, that's how they trick you. Pay close attention to it. Okay? Next. So, where is she? Let me see here on my screen. There you go, Yanessa. You talked about commingling, right? Great. So here we go. Let's address commingling. It's a famous Chinese word. Don't get offended by the Chinese word here. But brokers are specifically prohibited from commingling, which is mixing their own funds with the money in their trust account. Okay? So you got to remember this word. Chinese word, commingling. Okay? Hey, Anthony, I need your camera on. Let's see. Rudy, I need your camera on, please. Whoever has the camera off, come back. Okay, you guys got it? Janice got it too. Perfect. All right, next thing we got. We're going to go cash deposits and withdrawals. So I gave you, Anna, I gave you $10,000 cash. You happy, right? You got $10,000 cash in your hands. By the way, Atlantic City is opening up again, so what should you do with the money? Run down to AC, right? So let's say I gave you $10,000 cash. One of the things you guys need to know, first of all, is that you got to give the customer or the client a written receipt saying, yes, I received your money. Great. Now, the broker keeps a copy of that receipt. If it's $10,000 or more, that's why I try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If it's $10,000 or more, you must report to IRS. Now, who's going to report? It's not going to be you, Anna. It's going to be your broker. Okay? Now, do all deals go through? Guys, do we close every single deal? No. In fact, most deals will not go through for various reasons. That's why we got to have a lot of them in the pipeline. So let's say, Anna, let's say I did not get to buy because the seller was not able to sell, or because we're still not under a valid contract and I decided to cancel. So what must you do with that money? $10,000. What must you do with it? If I gave you cash, you should give me cash, correct? You're saying yes? No, never give me cash. You got to make a check payable. You got to make a check payable to the specific person. I know I gave you cash, right? I want cash back, but no. You got to make a check, not you, your broker, specific to me, to my name, never to cash. You guys got it? Now, why is that? Because I got to keep proper accounting of the escrow account, other people's money. Because if at any time we get audited as an agency, right, we want to make sure we're not commingling, right? We're not mixing people's funds. So I need to prove that the money got out of the account. How do I prove? If I took out cash, how do I prove it went to that person? You guys understand? If it's a check, then somebody's going to cash the check or deposit the check. Either way, there's now a trace that somebody signed that check. Okay? As far as permanent records, we addressed this earlier. Any permanent records, you got to keep them for 6 years. Here it says trust account, but you guys are going to learn later on that it's whether it's the trust account or anything else, you got to keep it for 6 years, as long as it's permanent records. We're going to repeat these things several times. That's why I'm going a little faster. Regulation of documents. It says here that every person who signs a listing, sales contract, or lease should immediately receive a duplicate original of the document. What is a duplicate original? Keyword original. That means we're not signing one document and making a copy of that document to everybody. It means that we have duplicate blank documents for every single party to sign. So if there's 10 people to the transaction, there's 10 different wet signatures on each contract. Does that make sense? Okay, and everybody gets an actual copy of it. Next paragraph says, commissions, pay attention guys, commissions are negotiable between the client and the broker. See, no contract can contain anything indicating a prescribed fee schedule. In fact, the commission requires that the following statement be included in all listings or sales contracts, even if there is no listing on the property, for all 1 to 4 family residences. And it says, as a seller, you have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, or other valuable consideration with any broker. Now, what is the standard? Hit me up in the chat right now. What is the standard commission in New Jersey that you guys know? In Jersey, what's the standard commission? Let me know. Okay. 6%, 5%. Connie says none. Crystal says none. Shady says 4, 5. 6%. 3 for the listing, 3 for the selling, says Heather. Mina says depending on the broker. Sanders says there is none. All right. This was the easiest trick ever, by the way. Let's go back to this. That's why I say pay attention. Commissions are negotiable. There's no standard. My question was, what was the standard? There's no standard commission. There's what we hear on the streets to be acceptable as a 5 or 6%. It's acceptable, right? Everybody understands that around 5 or 6% is an acceptable number. But the seller, I just read to you guys, right? The seller, you have the right to individually reach an agreement on the fee, commission, or other valuable consideration. No fee, commission, or other valuable consideration has been fixed by any governmental authority or by any trade association or multiple listing service. You need to remember, guys, commissions are negotiable between the broker and the seller. They are negotiable. The broker and the client, I'm sorry. Okay? Therefore, if you can get 10%, that's a great negotiation. If you get 1%, you will not be working for that broker anymore. Okay? But everything is negotiable. Nice save, Janice. Nice save. So Janice on YouTube answered one thing and then she corrected before I saw it. All right, next. It says right here, licensees can prepare sales contracts only for 1 to 4 family homes and single building lots. Okay? Guys, we can prepare contracts for 1 to 4 family. Doesn't mean that's all we can work on. Okay? We can do commercial, we can do industrial. If you guys read right below, it says all we have to do if it's commercial industrial, it's called a letter of intent. So we can still participate, we can still get paid a commission, but we don't prepare the contract ourselves. Attorneys do. Okay? We're going to repeat this a lot of times. Next page. See, all these contracts that we prepare, the 1 to 4 family, so the residential contracts, right? We have to give an opportunity, because we're the ones preparing, we have to give an opportunity for the seller and the buyer to get their own attorneys. Therefore, we have something called attorney review clause. And attorney review clause means that we have to give them at least, we'll go over this better on chapter 11, we got to give them at least 3 business days after delivery of signed contract to both parties. After delivery of signed contract to both parties, we have to give them 3 business days to review the contract with the attorneys and initiate any dispute. We're not saying contract is over after 3 business days. We're saying that they have to initiate a dispute. If they don't, then it's a binding contract after the 3rd business day. But until then, we have to give them the opportunity to dispute. You got it? Next it says, all written offers must be forwarded to the sellers within 24 hours. And at the time of listing, owners of properties must be furnished with a copy of the Attorney General Memorandum of Law Against Discrimination, which we'll talk about in Chapter 4, 2 days from now, and also in Chapter 10 when we get to listings. In New Jersey, it's not required to have an attorney. That's what it says here. I'm going to skip this because we'll talk about it better in Chapter 11. But in New Jersey, you're not required to have an attorney to represent you in a residential real estate transaction. And then we get to other documents. Now, it says here that the broker must keep copies of all unaccepted offers to purchase for 6 months from the date of the initial offer. So guys, how long do we have to keep the offers? How long, let me know in the chat, how long do we have to keep the offers? Wow, now you're thinking before answering. I see that. How long do we have to keep the offers? Let's go to the chat. See, Avenue is the one that has the correct answer right now, because he's like, hey, unaccepted offers? Yes, guys, pay attention before you answer anything else. 6 months if it's unaccepted. If they're accepted, they became contracts. So now it's 6 years. So you need to pay attention in the state exam if they're asking about unaccepted offers or if they're asking about accepted offers. What they do sometimes is ask a generic question like I did, and then there's 4 answers because it's multiple choice, right? And in those 4 answers, we'll say, for instance, 5 years if it's a contract. Now, it's not 5 years, it's 6, right? We got this, okay? But then the correct answer will probably say unaccepted offer 6 months. Boom. Sometimes they say unaccepted offers 6 years, and then underneath accepted offers 6 years. So you need to know the difference. If it's unaccepted offers, we need to keep them for 6 months. If it's accepted offers, they became contracts, therefore a permanent record, therefore 6 years. You guys got it? Give me a thumbs up on this. You got it? Great. Day 1 and I'm tricking you so much, right? You're like, I'm quitting. That's it. All right, this is just the beginning. I'm just warming up. I'm not as warm as Chad over there, you know, but I'm warming up. All right, next. Where it says broker business relationship, we're going to skip all this because we're going to talk about it tomorrow. I just want you to pay attention real quick to this, still on page 13 on the right-hand side. Brokers, their obligation is to put the principal's interest first. So if it's the listing broker, that means you represent the seller. We talked about this earlier. We put the principal, which is the seller's interest first, then ours, then everybody else's. Tomorrow we go in detail. But right here, right above waiver of broker cooperation form, you need to know that the Real Estate Commission requires you, salespeople, requires you to do whatever your broker tells you to do, right? But it requires the broker Sorry. You're going to hear a lot of this. Sorry. So, but it requires the broker to cooperate with other brokers. So let's say, for instance, that Moses, let's say you're KW, right? Okay. So Moses is from Keller Williams and he brings a buyer. I'm not from Keller Williams, so I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to work with this guy, and tell my buyer or my seller, whoever I'm representing, hey, let's not work with him because he's from a different agency. Real Estate Commission says no. You have to work with whoever has a buyer, unless the seller signs a waiver. If the seller is the one that wants this to happen, if the seller says, hey, Bruno, listen, keep it in-house. Don't tell anybody. Don't advertise. Keep it within your group of people and your buyers. Nobody else. If the seller says that, then I have to explain this to him or her. This is what you're going to have to sign, Mr. Seller, that you understand that cooperation amongst the brokers will actually bring a wider exposure of your property, making it sell faster, probably sell faster and at a higher price. If not, then only in-house it might take longer to sell and it might be at a lower price. So pretty much what we're saying is the more we expose your property to other agencies, the more probabilities of finding a buyer. If they still choose to keep it in-house, then they do have to sign this right here at the bottom. They do have to sign and date it that they are aware of these things. Okay? So for it to be strictly in-house, it has to be signed by the seller. Okay? Next, this will be tomorrow as well. If you represent the buyer, then again, it's the buyer's interest first, then yours, then everybody else's. If you are a dual agent, as it says, if you're dual, that means you represent both the seller and the buyer. Okay? But you have to have a written informed consent. We'll talk about this tomorrow as well. A written informed consent that the seller agrees for you to work with the buyer and the buyer agrees for you to work with the seller. Okay? If you're a transaction broker, then you represent the transaction only, so you are not creating any relationship with either party. Again, tomorrow in chapter 3, as it says right here. I hope you guys are good. Just, like I said, going a little fast because tomorrow it's in detail. All right, right here, broker and salesperson. Now, before you start working for an agency, one of the things you have to have is an independent contractor agreement. Otherwise, you're not part of that agency yet, okay? So an independent contractor agreement is called a broker salesperson independent contractor agreement. And in this agreement, it will state, number one, how much you're going to get paid. Is it going to be a salary or commission, or split, for example, or strictly commission? Also, it must state the broker's promise. I know you cannot see it clearly, but it's the broker's promise to give you your money, whatever your cut is, according to whatever's here, your cut within 10 days after the commission is received or soon thereafter as a check is cleared. So when do you get paid? Within 10 days of closing. Simple. And finally, it must include also what I call the prenup clause. What is a prenup clause? The prenup clause is very simple. Hey, I love you. You love me. You're going to be my agent. I'm going to be your broker. And this is going to be an amazing relationship forever. Until the day that it's not. Okay? So, since Daphne, don't look like that at me because I was not, okay? It was not a proposal. I'm just saying, when you go work for an agency, she's like, this guy loves me already? Like this? All right, what I'm trying to say is very simple. When you go work for an agency, like I said earlier, everybody's the best, right? Everybody's going to say they're the best. And you're going to fall in love with one agency and you're going to start working at that agency. But then tomorrow, you realize maybe they're not the best, or maybe they're not fit for you, or you're not fit for them. So all we're saying with the prenup clause is very simple. If you ever leave it, I love you now, and I'll pay you 70%, I'll pay you 80%, I'll pay you 100%. Every agency has different pay schedules, right? But if you leave me at one point, instead of getting 100% or 70 or whatever, I'll give you 25%. Or some agencies will give you 10%. Or some agencies will give you no percent. Okay? But it has to be there. The clause that says if you ever leave, right, and everything is negotiable. If you ever leave, it's a prenup. We're not going to battle over this. If you ever leave, this is how it is and you're aware of it. You guys got it? That's why it won't be in the state exam saying, what's the prenup clause? No. The only reason why I'm saying prenup is for you guys to understand. You get into this marriage with your broker and you're preparing already if you ever get divorced from your broker, this is how we're going to split whatever's spending. You guys got it? Any questions? All right. Perla, it's $5 more, okay? Visitors to the classrooms, $5 more. All right. You guys got it or no? Next thing we got is advertising. We're really almost done. Advertising. Now, obviously, there are rules for advertisement, right? The Real Estate Commission wants to make sure that the public knows exactly with whom they're dealing. That's why all your advertisements, and this talks about media, like publications, broadcasts, stationery, business cards, email, web pages, even social media. Okay? Every single advertisement you make is not about you. Okay? When you see people, for instance, you guys, I'm pretty sure you see everywhere. Rob sells New Jersey, right? You've seen it everywhere? Okay. It's not Rob, it's his company. So if you guys notice, he never does Rob sells New Jersey and then puts a different agency name or his own name only. He has to keep his agency name. But there are other people that will say, for instance, I don't know, Alpha sells New Jersey or Omega sells New Jersey, and they keep it as their own. You cannot do that. All right? So let's see here. Who am I going to pick on? Brian. See, Brian, you cannot say Brian sells New Jersey and just keep it yourself. You always, always, always have to include your brokerage name. Okay? Always. Because who do you represent? Who's doing the business? It's the brokerage. You're working on behalf of the brokerage. You guys remember this from earlier? So all your advertisement, if you work for Remax, it's Remax advertisement with your face on it, with your contact on it, and theirs. Okay? If you work for Waiver, it's Waiver advertisement with your face on it, with your name, your contact, and theirs. Very, very important. You must include. In fact, it must be in a larger type or more prominently. That information must stand out more than your information. Very, very, very important for state exam. And in real life, if you don't want to get sued, keep to these standards, okay? Next. On the next page it says, all ads must specify the property's municipal location. So you cannot have an advertisement that says in the vicinity of. Okay? I'm in the middle of Newark right now, but I cannot say a property is located in the vicinity of Elizabeth or vicinity of Belleville or anything like that, unless I specify that the property is located in Newark. So now people will know, okay, it's in Newark, closer to Elizabeth area, so I know exactly where it is. It's in Newark, closer to Belleville area, so I know exactly where it is. Does that make sense? The advertisement could say vicinity of, but it must include municipal location. Very, very important. If the ad talks about the MLS, which we'll mention that in chapter 10, if the ad talks about the MLS, then you must have completely spelled out. So let's say GSMLS is Garden State Multiple Listing Service. You don't have to spell out multiple listing service, but the Garden State portion, yes. There's NJMLS, New Jersey MLS. There's Hudson County MLS. There's Central Jersey MLS. All of these cannot go by their acronym. They have to go in full. Unless you only have 20 lines or fewer and no wider than one column, or if it's for business cards or whatever. Those could be shorter. This one, you guys already know, it's part of almost every advertisement to buy a house or buy a car or anything that's financed. It says that you cannot indiscriminately promise financing, first of all. And second, you must contain the words, right here, contain the words, tu qualified buyer, right? In really tiny letters or said very fast. But it must contain those words. Why? Because not everybody qualifies in the same way. So if I promise that the payment for this house is $1,400 a month, then it has to be based on some type of qualification, or everybody, regardless of qualification, will pay $1,400 a month. Does that make sense? I have to disclose these things. At the bottom, any offer of a free item or service must be generally free, and it cannot be contingent upon the purchase or listing of the property. So if you have an open house, as an example, and you have free beverages, and let's say you have donuts as well, right? You cannot say, hey, don't touch the donuts or don't touch the coffee unless you buy this house. You cannot do that. If it's free, it's free. All right? Also, you cannot have some type of lottery, contest, game, or drawing. This one we're going to repeat a bunch of times. We cannot offer free appraisals. We can offer CMAs. We cannot offer free appraisals. We can offer CMAs. Okay, we'll talk about it in chapter 10 and then chapter 16, which is appraisals. Now, my question to you guys is, what is the difference? Did you like that question? Almost froze my screen. What is the difference? Come on. Between free and fee. What is the difference between these two? Let me know in the chat. What is the difference between free and fee? Let me know in the chat. We're almost done. All right, so some of you already took my class before. We have a few pirates. That's what it is. Carlos says 1 cent. Abanu, you're wrong. Lita, you're wrong. Even Janice over YouTube, she's giving me the right answer. All right, guys, very simple. It is the R. The only difference is the R. Look right here. People are thinking like, what is he trying to get at? All right. Why is the difference the R? Because in the state exam, we all know that fee you pay for, free you don't pay for. Simple. I know you know that. But while you're reading a question, have you guys noticed how you jump at assumptions or conclusions based on my questions? You just jump at it, right? Imagine if you're reading and you skip the R, or your brain puts an R in it. It changes completely the meaning of the question. That's why I'm going to show you as we go to slow down as you're reading, to break down the questions. Very, very important. Because if one letter can change everything, imagine the whole word that you skipped. Okay? And this happens a lot. Okay? Next, any advertisement that mentions a specific commission rate or amount must also state that in New Jersey, commissions are 6%. Everybody knows that, right? So every advertisement must include that, a statement that commissions are 6%. Now, the next thing, nobody? You guys didn't pay attention? I know you guys are dying. It's first day. You guys are dying. But make sure you get it. Chad, absolutely. 10%. Absolutely. All right. Commission rebates. Yep, Janice, negotiable. Commission rebates. I want you guys to write in front of this to the buyer. We already addressed it earlier, but commission rebates are only to a buyer, correct? We cannot give any type of money to the seller. We shouldn't even give any type of money to anybody, right? But that's not licensed. But this law, this 2009 law that was came into effect in 2010, in early 2010, allows you to rebate part of your commission. Do you guys remember when I said you have $1,500 that your buyer needs, but your commission is $10,000? You can rebate or credit part of your commission towards the closing. Okay? So rebates are to the buyer. We already went over this. The very last thing we got is probation, suspension, and revocation. So this is things that could happen to you. You could actually get your license on probation. So it's like a slap in the hand. If you do this again, you lose it, right? They could suspend your license, or they can even revoke your license completely. Also, they can charge you between $250,000 and $50,000 fines, whatever they feel like that day. Before they do revoke your license, they have to give you at least 10 days advance notice of a hearing. What does that mean? It means that today is the 6th, right? So your license is going to be suspended by the 17th. You have until tomorrow to show up at the real estate commission and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry, will never happen again. I promise. Give me a chance, right? So you have 10 days before the suspension, up to 10 days before the suspension, to show up and plead your case. All right? Hopefully you'll never have to, but you never know. Now, if your license gets suspended, salespeople, if your license does get suspended, the broker's license might always also be suspended if the broker had guilty knowledge. What is guilty knowledge? It means the broker knew what was going on and did not attempt to stop it. All right? So for instance, Chad was charging 10% commission but never told the seller, right, that it was 10% negotiable. He made a statement that it's 10% or I'll walk away, right? So you got to let him know that it's negotiable. So if Chad said 10% and he always brings 10% commissions and you never question how he got it, all right? And I'm going to tell you another thing that some realtors do. They tell the seller, hey, just sign here, I'll fill it out later, right? And then here comes the 10% or the 15%. Or just because he's going wild, he wants 100% commission. Like it's all mine, right? How do you think he can afford that background he has? So, so this is what happens. If I'm his broker and I see these deals coming in all the time, shouldn't I question? Like, how do you get 10% all the time? Shouldn't I question that? I should. Carlos Jr. is saying, nope, don't question. Just go with the flow. It's 10% commission. Just do it. No, guys. If it's something is weird, nobody gets 10% commission, and now comes Chad always gets it. First of all, I want to know how you do it so I can do it as well. If you're doing it in the legal way, I want to find out how, because I'm always learning, right? But if I see that it's something that's being done wrong, like he's filling out paperwork on behalf of the seller, right? Then I know he's doing it wrong. I have guilty knowledge. If the seller ever sues, or a seller ever sues Chad, they're suing me as well. If it can be proven that I knew about it, then my license will also be suspended. It will also be affected. The problem is, guys, we all work together in the same agency. So when my license gets suspended, I'm the broker. When my license gets suspended, all your licenses get suspended. Because if you guys remember from the first chapter, you got to have a sponsoring broker. If my license is inactive, then who's sponsoring you? Do you guys understand? So because of what Chad is doing, you all get affected. But it's not because of what Chad was doing, it's because of what I was allowing him to do. Chad lost his license, I lose my license, and all of you become inactive or suspended because of my actions or lack of action. Okay? Now, what you can do during that time that you're suspended, right? What you can do is you can find another broker, and the real estate commission forgives you and doesn't charge you anything to transfer your license or to reissue your license. Otherwise, it's a $25 fee to transfer from agency to agency. You guys got it? Any questions? No? All right, cool. Carlos says Chad's going to have to change his name and move out of the country. Hey, I think he's ready if you see his background. All right, guys, this you guys can study at home because we either covered some of these already or we're going to cover tomorrow or over the next few days, which is the potential violations that will lead you to lose your license. You guys got it? All right, with that being said, all these violations could lead you to that. With that being said, I'm sorry for the delay, guys. It's now 9:22, but we've reached summary, and this means we are done. If you guys have any questions, guys, make sure you're part of the WhatsApp group already. If not, go to your student portal, log in. Class replay, maybe not this one, but from the previous session is there. So if you have any questions, go there. Don't forget to activate your Quizlets. If you have trouble communicating in the chat, not here in the Zoom chat, but in the WhatsApp or the Facebook group chat. And I mean, any questions you guys have. If I don't answer right away, keep on sending me messages. Janice, thank you so much. Those are kind words. I try to give out the best. Thank you. All right, so for everybody, I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Please try to be on time so we start 5:40 sharp, okay? Thank you, guys. You have a great night.